Are you with me? Just hit me bell. Throw that over there. Hopefully it went in the bin. I know we did this last night. Right? I just like it. It's my toy. There we go. Oop. Press the button. Otherwise it doesn't work. I'm trying to make it pour so it absolutely I can get it into one glass. Oh, look at this. Steaming in. Go on, son. Get up there, look. I wonder if I can do my little thingy one. You know, the little clover. Let that settle for a bit and I'll come back to you. Harry's my wonderful audience. There's the full English there and the full English up there. Right. All my little toys on there. Look, me dragons up there. Look, me Texas plates up there. Don't forget. Listen, the English stand for Jerusalem. And when I say Jerusalem, I mean the national anthem of England. And we also stand for Dixie. Yes. But we're getting there in the end. Once that's come all the way up, I will show you what a wonderful pint it is. It is still settling at the moment. I've got to say, that looks like it's come straight off the draft in a pub. I'm still not feeling, I haven't been out today. I'm still not feeling too good, but I'm a lot better than what I was. You must have all noticed that. I'm also going to do my top button up. I don't want the ladies getting all saucy on me. Let's have a look. Good evening. English. Evening, Graham. Ace Joyce, how you doing? Evening all. Paul Rumlin. I apologise for being late, but I was actually having something to eat. And then talking for different people during the day and different elements of things. Kew Gardens, friends, Tuffy Pat. England is rising loud and proud, Dick, rightly so. Well, I hope it is, is the answer. There's been a number of things today. Let me just see if is that actually gone completely. Can you see that? It's gone a bit misty inside for some reason. Might because it had a bit of water on the inside of it. What do you think of that though? All I'm doing is showing you that little device. It's nuts, isn't it? What do you think? By the time that settles properly, I'm going to have to... That's going to last about 2 seconds. Right, let's have a look. Right, majorly hit the like button, majorly subscribe. Really important. Even if you're watching on catch up, subscribe to the channel. Click on the button. If you click on the button, it says all. Every time I go live, it'll send it to you because there's going to be a lot more coming up in what we're doing, etc. And we will be having a good chat. So like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. And don't forget to share, because sharing is crucially important. The only people getting this message out. Now, today, I actually, believe it or not, asked Grok again, because I see someone else do it. And basically said, why am I shadow banned? And they come back and said, your content, even though you're about self-determination, which is the number one human right, we would regard as civilly disruptive. That's X has said that about my account. It's civilly disruptive to talk about leaving the Union, right? And one of the issues, and that's one of the reasons I'm showing them tonight, you've got the Texas place because they want Texit, secession from the Union, right? And there is a whole, in my opinion, not even a constitutional argument. It's people have been brainwashed into what believing what the Civil War in America was about. That they've been told it was all about slavery. It wasn't. It was about control. And the British model from the north, was being imposed on the Southerners, which was an English model. Right? That's the easiest way to explain it. Just to make sure, civilly disruptive, exactly what we want. Well, again, just to let you know, that's exactly what it said. And I don't even think I've got an appeal because they don't they don't tell you unless you ask. I'm going to say cheers, right? Let's see how much of this I can. That tastes so lovely. If I could get an ice machine, right, to put these glasses are quite expensive, but get these glasses and just put them in the ice machine, right, and you leave them in there. Do you know, like freezer? And then they freeze the glass. You get the glass out, and then you put a Guinness into that, and then let it sit there. A cold Guinness into it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And don't forget, they are, and they do. Zero Guinnesses taste nice. You wouldn't know any major difference until you've had about 4 or 5 pints of it. One, because you're not what, and the second is because you get a bit of a tangy taste in your mouth from the tin. Grasshopper, it didn't even touch the sides, mate. Now I'm going to swallow the rest of it in about 2 seconds and then pour another one. Oh, did I have some left in that? I think I did. Let's see if I can turn that on. Every drop of it out. Every drop of that one's now out. I'll turn that off. And then I'll go on to my next one in about 2 minutes. I'm limiting myself now to 2 pints a night, so and so it don't interfere with the show. I'm just going to have them during the show and have a Guinness. How's that? So, to all those lovely people out there, don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and send it out there. There's a few things I wanted to talk to you about. The most important thing tonight is Jenrick or Jerick or whatever his name is, the Conservative that allowed all the foreigners in. A big foreign wave of them come in under his command. In fact, he was very pleased with himself that. Can everyone hear me? Give me a 5p5. Someone's saying I'm muted. Well, the mic's saying it's clear. Can you all hear me? I won't do any more until I get a 5p5 in a chat. Can you all hear me? Hopefully that's all working. 5p5. Okay, good. Well done. So someone else has got a problem with their speakers, probably. So, most importantly, this guy, Jenrick, or whatever his name is, he's been ousted, but they wouldn't have got anywhere because they knew. I mean, Farage is either completely incompetent, which I don't think he is. There's something going on, and I don't know what it is, right? But to bring him on board, now he's going to bring another Labour member on board, well-known Labour member. And what he's doing is recreating the Uniparty. He's just showing everyone this is the Uniparty, right? And that's not what people want. People don't want these people that have corrupted this country, subverted our constitution, subverted our legal processes, laughed at the people, brought in all these foreigners and destroyed our country. And when I say our country, I talk of England. So today, I'm not sure if I can actually find it on there, but I will try. Did they think Brexit was then destructive or whatever? He just said Grok said. That could be an appeal in itself. No, that's what Grok said. Grok said they believe that he's analysed the posts and said that you're civilly disruptive, and therefore we won't allow your voice to be heard. Your reach will be restricted. So they allow you to say things, but which means that it's even more important that the seminars, we've got to get something made up that links directly to Twitter and to us, so people can click it on their phones and then save it. And that's the only way it's going to go forward. So just to make sure you're all aware of that. Now, what that means is they're completely dismissing the effects of the unitary state on the nation states of the Union, right? So the unitary state is the United Kingdom. It is not a country. The countries are England, Scotland, technically Northern Ireland, and the Wales is a principality of England, right? So once everyone understands, British, again, I keep repeating this, but I have to say it so people understand, is a legal fiction. And that legal fiction was brought in by the British Union Parliament to artificially create a British nationality. And that happened in 1948. It was brought in by Clement Attlee, the Fabian Prime Minister. They pushed it through. And then in 1981, they made addendums to that. But the most important part for constitutional subversion was Schedule 4, where it removed our ability as the English to challenge any foreigner that had been put in a position of power, whether it be an MP, a lord, or a position of profit, right? And for that reason is the sole reason why Ben Habib could not be an elected member of Parliament, because as soon as Parliament, and Parliament should, null and void the British Nationality Act of 1948 and 1981, Ben Habib would not be entitled in any way or form. It is unconstitutional to vote for him or to even have him on the ballot paper. Rupert Lowe is completely the opposite to that, right? So just to make sure everyone is aware. Rupert Lowe, you're a champion for women and girls right across. Who was that? I believe in free speech. I also believe in integrity. Let me show you some of these. There is some things I want to show you. There's a lot going on. Let me go back to my main screen. So I want everyone to be aware. Rupert Lowe has now sent out. I'm not sure if I can show it to you or not. I think I can, but what I don't want to do is bring that up in such a way. How can I bring that up on the screen so you can all see it? He's just, maybe I should just read the letter from you. I won't be able to bring it on the screen. But I am a member of Restore Britain. Restore Britain to me means restore England to its constitution, restore Scotland to its constitution, restore Northern Ireland to its proper place as an individual nation governed by the English Bill of Rights and the English Constitution. They are a Protestant nation by law, right? And Wales is part of England as a principality. We can deal with that another time. Whatever the Welsh nationalists tell you, that will always be a two-stage process, right? You first need to get England out of the Union before you can take Wales out of the Union. And the fact is, all the time the Welsh nationalists are attacking the English. It's proven a point to the British Unionists, and it's part of their propaganda machine. So, Rupert Lowe's message, which has come through in my email. Dear Graham, one message has been reinforced today in the most spectacular fashion. Westminster is a vile snake pit infested with those who put their own personal interest above that of the country. There are an exceedingly small handful of patriots, but that number is vastly outnumbered by those who have their priorities in the following order: self, party, country. And they haven't got the country, most of them. Anyone who believes Britain is a country has been indoctrinated by the system to believe that it is a unitary state. Party politics has failed. It's failed all of us. It's failed Great Yarmouth. It's failed England. It's failed Britain. It is a circus, a pantomime, a show, with no care for what's really being inflicted on decent tax-paying men and women. We shouldn't be paying taxes. There is a way around that, including tariffs. We have to rebuild our industries. They all treat it like a sport. It's not. It is our country, our home, our people. The solution: a reformed dictatorship that is packing its ranks with the very same people who decimated the country over 14 dire years. I think not. Nadine Dorries, Jake Berry, Lee Anderson, Nadeem Zawari. Really? Are these the people to turn this country around? A Labour defector is on his way on the way too. I mean, really. Even Jenrick, who has to take full responsibility for what happened on his watch as immigration minister. Entire communities transformed into what now resembles the third world. Vast streets of foreigners unable to speak English. Towns changed beyond recognition. This is what they did to our Britain, our England. All of them. Today, he betrayed his colleagues. That's his choice. I am of the view that nobody who has had any role in past governments should be allowed by the British people to serve again. Absolutely. The damage is just too immense, too grave, possibly even too irreversible. All these washed up former MPs who are weaponising the rightful anger of the British people to slink back into Parliament. It's sickening to watch. Please remember this. They did this to this country in bold. These are the people who destroyed Britain. They will not fix it. Reform will not fix it. Farage was supposed to destroy the establishment, not join them. That is why I backed him for so long. I was wrong to do so. He's admitted he was wrong, right? Do you know what I like about this geezer? He acknowledges when he's made mistakes, big mistakes, like some pariah follow Farage, right? And now he's realised. And there are so many people in reform, including some of my own family. Pariah Farage, even when their own family was telling them, right? It's like working with a grass, getting sent to prison, and then coming out of prison, knowing he's a grass and carrying on working with him. It's like, where do you get this from? What is it that you're going back again? Remember what I said last night? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's the way this is. And at least Rupert Lowe has got the integrity, the guts, and the honour to say that he was wrong. That's always an indication that someone is a good person and not a narcissist. Sadly, joining that establishment is all he cares about. He wants to be accepted by the people who spurned him for so long. That is what drives him. Take revenge on Conservative Party that refused to accept him and then force them to bend to the knee and kiss his ring. What ring is he talking about? Party politics is dead. And again, that's why we set up the English Constitution Party in the way it was set up. It was never set up with a manifesto. The manifesto itself is the English Constitution. That is what a parliamentary candidate is there to do, to protect you and to voice your opinions, to voice your grievances in Parliament to the Crown. We needed an entirely different way of doing things. Hundreds of men and women from outside politics put forward for election, all of whom must have had nothing to do with our country, has been so to do with how our country is so abhorrently failed. I'm going to think long and hard over the weekend about my next step. Britain doesn't need mere reform from the same arsonists who burnt it to the ground. That's a great line. A real alternative must be provided. I will do that, Rupert. Now, I'm going to go back and ask my audience, what did you think of what I just read out to you? That's the actual letter that came out. Tell me what you think of him. Again, I'm just about England, right? So all this Britishness shit, I'm not interested. I'm not interested at all. If anyone stood to me tomorrow, if I was in Parliament and said, you're British, I'd say, listen, shut it, right? I'm not interested in your British nonsense. Wow, an amazing letter from Rupert. Yeah, merry old England. Everyone loved that. Yeah, let's go and let's see if we can see a load of English flags out there. But now people are actually seeing what's going on. Reform and advance are the same thing, right? Ben Habib should not be there, who describes himself as a British Pakistani. By English constitutional law, the real law of the land, he could not stand, and he should not be allowed to stand. And anyone backing him is betraying this country. And I speak of England, right? So that's my views on that. If Rupert Lowe goes in with him, then there's no more time. There is no time. It's over. The time limit is gone, right? Anyone pushing forward with that, and if Rupert Lowe does want to go in with Advance UK, he's fucked it before he's even started. There is a degree of naivety from Ben Habib, but Rupert Lowe has definitely got the common sense needed to understand there's and he should recognise that English flags went up everywhere, all over his constituency. He has actually said he's English, to his credit. He'd certainly never said he was a British Pakistani. I want a very sincere letter from the heart. My friend is convinced reform is still the way to go, despite me showing him to be a traitor. What the fuck? Grasshopper. The people who have been suckered into reform and Advance UK are no difference to the people who took the jab and said there's nothing wrong with it, even though everyone around them's dropping dead. Even though some of them people have had cancer and have got cancer, there is a very, very serious problem with indoctrinating people. Propaganda is a very, very evil. Now it was a military weapon. It is now a political weapon. And again, something needs to be done about that. If Rupert Lowe was going to join Advance UK, I think he would have done it by now. Not necessarily, but I accept your opinion on that. I don't know. Listen, I'm just like you. I'm sitting there thinking. The difference is he has already put a team behind him, and I am warming towards that team. It depends who else he brings into the team. If it's someone like Cole Benjamin, I wouldn't be interested at all. People that are part of his team, I would possibly be interested in assisting and backing, but we'd have to wait and see. Let me just go. I'm going to go and show you something else. Archernot. Hi, ED. Archernot's out there, my old mucker. And don't forget, one of the things that we intend to do is to return England to a non-secular nation. It is Christian. That's it. No ifs, no buts. That doesn't mean It doesn't mean that you can't be a Muslim, for example. You can. You're just not having a fucking mosque. And you're not having, and Sharia, we're enforcing the English Bill of Rights. And if you don't like it, by the way, because this is after obviously you're getting no benefits, none whatsoever. Think of probably best part of 80% of that immigrant population leaving because they'll have no money. So if that's the type of thing that you actually want to see, then you'll see it. Rupert, for me, just hope he does something. I'm not, again, I don't personally know Rupert Lowe. I can only say what I've seen, some of the things that he said. And the fact is, there's not many people you can trust. And I mean, I trust, believe it or not, our membership. Many of you I personally know. Many of you have become extremely good friends, right? Many of you. The English Constitution, Christianity in England are the nuts. Yeah, they are. Chuck money. I still cannot believe Rupert will make the jump to England. I know. Well, then that's for us to keep. Anyone. That's why I kept saying to people, you must be on Twitter, right? Because they have now shadow banned me, but they haven't shadow banned you, right? So you can send Rupert Lowe messages. You can send Charles Downs messages. The bigger he sees our team is, and the more you say, listen, we're all shadow banned on here. But you need to be talking about England. We want our country is England, right? Britain is an island. And if you want to save you can say to them, if you want to save the union, you better start listening to us, because otherwise the union's going to go, right? One way or the other, that union could go in the way that they're doing it at the moment, and they're using the unitary state as an oppressive state. No different to Iran, no different to USSR, no different to the European Union. It's all the same stuff. Andrew Burgess. Hi, Dee. How are you? Andrew Burgess, I'm very well, thank you. Raybot, I agree. If you wish to send Daddy Dragon a personal donation for all my hard work, yes, I am fucking skint. I'm always skint. I don't care about money. I absolutely hate money, but I need money. Anyone want to go for another one? Shall I have another one? Let's take a vote on the audience if Daddy Dragon can have another pint of Guinness. These are exceptionally normal. So there it is. Look. Guinness draft. Nitrosage. There's a pint one. We'll ever go at that? Huh? What do you mean no? Arch, you're not. You're not allowed to say no. That's a liberty. Let's see if this works again. Here we go. Let's put it on. Here we go for. The way this pours, it's unreal. Little lights on at the top, can you see? And it's pouring away. It's getting there in the end. Come on, son. Ooh. I'm a bit fizzy there. Not that one over there. I will wipe the rest of it away later. There you go. I'll let that settle. Jealous of these pints of Guinness. Paul rumbling. I've got to tell you something. It's superb stuff. Not that I want to encourage anyone. I'm more impressed with the way that it pours, and then you get the proper Guinness head on it. I like that one there. I'll wait for that to come back up again. It's nearly settled. DD, yeah, you do a great job. Evening, Grasshopper. No doubt there is a delay before it gets out there. The votes are rigged, DD, and you know you can win 2 cases, then dismissed at the end of the merit. Then it would be have been swept, don't you think? The way in which they currently deploy the cheat in this country is in the majority of the areas. So the majority of the areas where they keep winning, so what they used to call was the red wall, that's where they bring their own, and they train them count agents to cheat. Right, they're the ones you've got to keep an eye on. Most of the country hasn't got that. What is that flying around? Just reply to Rupert's letter asking him to engage with the English Constitution Party. Well done. That's what I mean. If people reply to the letter, or even send him a direct letter, and send the people, because the people, they're nice people. They will listen, or I think they'll listen to you. At Restore. So I've not got an issue with Restore Britain if Restoring Britain is about restoring the Constitution of England and voiding. But again, too many of them have been brainwashed into believing something that's completely untrue, which is basically that the UK as a country is not. It's a unitary state, and as such, even international law says they must have the respect for the governed nations and for self-determination. Just making sure everyone gets that. Dinner evening. Don't forget, hit the like button. Don't forget, put it out there again. If you hit the like button and you subscribe, at least we've started to get out there. X has already said, well, Grok has already said, you are shadow banned. Right, and that's why, I mean, when I got to 10,000, they took my account down. I'm now coming up to 6,000 or just over 6,000. By the time I get to 10 again, you know what the algorithm's just going to go delete, right? And it actually tells you people go for backup accounts. So what they're intentionally doing is your voice won't get out there. That is not free speech, right? And what they're doing is playing politics with the term free speech and reach. Right? What they're doing is stopping you from communicating. They say it's a town square. It's not. What they've done is put you up an alleyway, down another alley, down around there, so you're staying in there, and the whole crowd won't be able to hear what you've got to say. That's what you've got to be careful of, right? They've already. That's it. No representation, no tax. They cancel any elections. You just stop paying tax completely. You've got a bona fide reason to say no. Tally Pat, blessings, Patriots, wrap up warm. If anyone wants to email Tucker Carlson to get on Graham, Juicy and Lucy, thank you for doing that. There's plenty of people out there. I do want to speak to that Lacey. Was it Lucy White, her name is? Paul Rumbling. Do the vote counters bring in extra voting slips or deliberately assign voting slips to their desired candidate? Do the voting counters bring in extra voter slips? I don't. They possibly did that in Batley and Spen because they pulled us all out of the count, and then they brought in a Luton truck and was moving stuff in and out and saying it was to do with COVID. It was bollocks, right? I know that even though I'm not of his politics, George Galloway definitely. If he didn't win it, he comes second, and they couldn't allow that to be seen. Especially the Labour Party, and again the Conservatives backed them really because no one brought a election petition there, so they got away with it. That's why they're closing pubs 10 to a dozen. DD, you know, they're closing the boozers. They've been doing that for years. Every time they put a penny on a pint, 5p on a pint, it's forcing the working people out of the pubs. And the main culprits for that is the Labour Party, right? Once people understand, listen, people who have got money, they're going through their university education, right, and they're sitting in their fucking wine bars. They're the people who have helped destroy this country, and they've robbed of the future generations. Lucy White is brutal. Yeah, but we need to try and get to her. I've messaged Tucker Carlson on his website too. Lady Jane Rigby, well done. Should get Dr. David Martin on again. He's been on. Let me have British gossips have warned veterans up to 65 to prepare for war. That doesn't surprise me. Let me have a quick look at this before I do anything else and see if I can see anything else. Real truth, please. Anyone here that reform friends of Israel? Oh, for fuck's sake. Traitors like the rest, globalists captured, and are friends of genocidal maniacs. Yep. BAM 7. With regards to local elections, I've read there is the Representation of the People's Act 1988, 1948, 1983. So surely there must be something to say cancel elections is unlawful. Yeah, the Bill of Rights. No taxation without representation. Actually, that goes back to petition of right. So just to make sure we know where the law's coming from. Rupert Lowe MP. In effect, an election is a form of petition. And what happened with us, with them cheating the way they did, was terrible. Charlie Downs, cometh the hour. We'll have to wait and see what goes on here and how good they are. You never know. Let's have a look. The offer's still there. 33 of you have resent that out to him. That's where I sent him that message. Let me just go back and show you something else as well. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. This is in America. Oh, hang on a minute. Excuse me. If I cough, I apologise. Let me put this back up there. There it is. Let me put that up there. Let me put that up there. Hopefully you're going to hear this. And I want you to sit there and listen to this. Just listen to what I love this woman. I'll tell you what, she's absolutely gorgeous, but she is one intelligent lady, and she shut this geezer right up.
You were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on Secretary Nome spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Lake and Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Let's go back to my thing. What did you think of that? What did you think of that? I thought I had to shut that. That was, I was like, God, girl, you tell him. What's her name? Caroline. Anonymous cat. Cheers, Archer. Stafford John. Go on, girl, you tell him. ECP membership link. Join the only true English party. blah, blah, blah. Well, I think that told him. I've been on Facebook on Rupert Lowe's page talking about you and our English Constitution. So basically, they can get rid of jury trials unless they can't get rid of jury trials unless a conventional government is formed. Don't what's this saying? Don't mess with a pregnant lady. Is she pregnant? Fucking hell. I think that's disgusting. I'm not reading that one out. They're like Tim and Camilla, just proofreaders, not journalists. Can't beat a proper truth teller saying it as it is. No, you can't. She gave it to him with both barrels. Rupert Lowe is the greatest MP the UK has had in generations. Yeah, you're not far wrong. And there are other people that are good people, but they won't. They're not being able to stand up. I think people under his leadership probably would, if I'm honest. I've just emailed London. Will Brian Rose suggest a guest as he's interviewed Ike over 10 times because he believes in freedom of speech. Well done. Brilliant, I thought. No, it was very good. Let me go back and have another look. So don't forget, hit the like button, share and care. And don't forget, people, on Twitter or Grok has admitted that we are, or this account, English Exit on X, is shadow banned in effect. They don't call it that anymore, he said, but we are reducing your reach. We allow you free speech, but we reduce your reach. It's people are not, and it also said, like, people searching for you won't see you in there. Even if they search, put your name in, they won't see you in their search lists. That's part of the problem. Let's see if Rupert introduces the whip. Chunk money. That is a really, really interesting way of finding out, because the whip is unconstitutional, which is why we don't have a whip. Let me have a quick look. Let's see if Rupert introduces Grasshopper. We'll keep trying. Yeah, well done, Grasshopper. I've got a whip, laugh out loud. Oh, God blimey. DD, is it worth upgrading to Super Grok? I've got Super Grok, I believe. I've got Super Grok. It was Super Grok that told me that. It is good, yeah. I like Super Grok. And you can turn it on different settings if you want it to do a proper bit of thinking or whatever you want it to do. Let's have a good look and see what we're doing. There was something else I wanted to show you last night, and I'm not sure where it went to, but let's pull this back down. There's a few things I'll be looking at, but someone sent it to me yesterday. I'm trying to think where it was. It was really interesting. Oh, I know. Let me go and find it, because I do want people to know this. Let me have a quick look. I put it in the faithful and people were replying to it. Let me have a look. Sky. I can't believe that geezer. Right, this is it. I wanted to show you. This is Conservative Woman, TCW Defending Freedom, right? And again, they are not interested in us, but it is a very interesting story that I'm about to tell you. So on your screen is this one, right? And it's about juries. That's really what the answer is. But I want you to listen to the person telling the story, right? Because it's really important. Let me go back to this one. Put this out there so everyone's got it. Because this is crucially important, and then I'll go back to there right now. The Tommy Robinson libel trial that proved why we need juries, right? So if anyone's out there listening to us, Charlie Staples has got a jury trial coming up about the police, right? So the jury is going to listen to what's going on. I quite took to Hull's East Labour MP Carl Turner, the rebel lawyer, confronting Keir Starmer and David Lammy over their plans to abolish many jury trials. We sat together at dinner on the House of Lords terrace some years ago, and he was good company. Despite being both a Labour MP and a lawyer, either can bring me out in hives, generally speaking. I just cracked open the terrace doors because some of the old boys at the neighbouring tables were wilting in the summer heat. A relieving breeze wafted in. As I went back to my chair, some pompous Westminster stuffed shirt admonished, sotto voice, a gentleman would have asked permission to do that. It was meant to humiliate, and it did. I bent over him and replied equally sotto voice, "It's a good job I am a gentleman, pal. Otherwise you'd be through those flipping doors and," flipping meaning effing, right, doors, "and in the river," right? So he went quite quiet and pal. I was a furious red, and as I retook my seat, Kyle Turner was creased up laughing. He kept raising his head to stare down the room. "What are you looking for?" I asked, still embarrassed and flustered. "The Sergeant at Arms," he said. "Apparently I just threatened to throw Sir Lindsay Hoyle, Speaker of the House of Commons, Deputy Speaker at the time, into the Thames. Turner has threatened to resign his Kingston upon Hull seat and force a by-election, which Reform would romp, unless Starmer and Lammy reconsider their jury trial abominations. He points out the various red flags around the policy, from the unrealistic financial implications to the probable ineffectiveness, and most crucially, the betrayal of a basic tenet of British justice, English justice." Right? As much as ex-barrister Turner speaks from court experience and personal experience, when he was almost a victim of gross miscarriage of justice, I'd like to add a journalist to Pennyworth. I speak as an editor and publisher who has survived occasional contempt of court summonses, successfully challenged multiple Section 39 orders, and escaped a bloodied but intact from £1 million libel case brought by a disgraced ex-Labour MP Sadiq Malik. Sadiq Malik is the guy who said, "This year, I am the first Muslim, then we will have 4, then we will have 8, then we'll have 16, and before long we'll be a Muslim parliament," right? Which I left to the judge. Would have ruined me. I was saved by a jury of my peers who were left bemused by Mr. Justice Eadie's legal gymnastics. Now, I want you to think about what happened with our trials, right, to do with the election. After closing statements, the jury were back in court within an hour with a long list of questions for Eadie. Red-faced, he couldn't answer because he'd arbitrarily ruled out so much of our defence evidence before the trial began. Judges consider themselves only a half rung below the gods of Olympus, right? In other words, they say you can't say that, you can't say this, you can't say that, right? So they destroy your case and then they say, "No, you do it like," right? The jury went out, came back, hung jury. "I'll take an 11-1 verdict," said Eadie. "Nope, 10-2. Not even a highly questionable 9-3. We were £90,000 out of pocket, but we survived." So David Eadie, now retired, was the senior libel judge at the Royal Courts of Justice. 14 years later, I sat through another hugely expensive but even higher profile libel trial at the Royal Courts of Justice, this time before the Equality Monarch Sir Matthew Nicklin, judge in charge of the Media and Communications List. Right. This time I wasn't a journalist, but a Mackenzie friend. a civilian authorised to assist a defendant, on this occasion the bankrupt Tommy Robinson. It was the libel case brought by Islamist agitators using the convenient cause of Huddersfield schoolboy Jamil Hijrazi, who had been involved in a playground spat with a white kid. I'll be as brief as possible. The media exulted over Open Day's prosecution case. Despite there being only one supporting witness, Hijaz's dad, Jihad, and yes, that really is his name, Jihad, right? Jihad Hijazi. When Tommy rose to make his opening statement, the Honourable Mr. Justice Nicklin sat down. The press will be present to hear your side tomorrow, he said. You can guess the rest. Not a single reporter returned except the Statutory Press Association staffer, who are crooked as fuck, right? In our trial, only one press association person was there and they misrepresented the whole case, right? And the rest of the press completely ignored what our case was about, right? And misrepresented it. Tommy's defence, featuring the crucial and overwhelming evidence produced, went unreported. The 5 brave young witnesses who came to testify to Hijazi's behaviour towards girls and women, speaking into a void. The multitude of statements and video recordings from teachers, social workers, parents, zilch. School records that showed him with more than 90 negatives in a single year. Echoes in a judicial silence. This is exactly what happened in our case. No contemporaneous reporting, but still we were jubilant at the trial's close. It was a walkover. It took Nicklin 3 months to produce a 52-page judgment condemning Tommy Robinson for his inevitable fate. Every defence witness lied on every single issue, he declared. They put themselves through the terrifying ordeal of a Royal Courts of Justice trial just for the fun of it. The star pupil, by then a law student, who testified about an angry Hijazi hitting her over the head with a hockey stick. She lied, the judge said. Minor inconsistencies from the youngsters over events some 3 or 4 years earlier gave Nicklin his own hockey stick to use on the children, especially the girl. And his justification, she lied. I quote Nicklin's paragraph 116, where he admits to being clueless why the girl would lie about an incident another young witness saw and testified to. Indeed, in the witness box, when accused of lying by the claimant's barrister, Nicklin interjected forcefully, why would a grade A student with an unblemished record studying law come to the High Court and lie? Those 3 months gave him time to consider why, his decision. Nicklin, people can lie for reasons that make no sense, sometimes for no reason at all. Everyone lied except sulky, taciturn young Hijazi, who, by the way, never returned to court to face his accusers after giving evidence on day one. Bizarre. Those young people and their parents were coming to London for the verdict, but it was cancelled at the last minute by Nicklin, allegedly over a positive COVID test. He gave us his summary verdict over the phone without having to show his face in front of those innocents. I would have paid good money to look Matthew Nicklin in the eye that day, to see if he could hold the gaze of the only experienced journalist to sit through every minute of that farce. Tommy Robinson was willing to go to prison by publishing his documentary, Silenced, which Nicklin had placed under injunction. It was seen by more than 160 million viewers, thanks to Elon Musk. Note that not many people would pay that price. I know I wouldn't. But that, my friends, is why the right to a jury trial has to be fought for by good men like Carl Turner and every one of us who might also one day fall foul of a politicised judiciary. I'm sure most of you trust judges. I wish I could share some other stories I have personal experience of. Right? You don't trust judges, and nor do I, to be honest with you. I see what happened with our case, and again, just to make sure you're aware of this, it was Elon Musk that promoted massively the documentary Silence. 160 million views. Right? Now, I want everyone to be aware of what I'm about to tell you. Right? Is that the inquiry, private inquiry, not a public inquiry, that Rupert Lowe has organised, which is taken evidence in February. You're going to see the reason why they want to see X shut down is because Elon Musk is going to be an every major account on Twitter, right? Every bar to it being promoted is being removed, and it is going to be the most watched, read, and understood inquiry ever to be launched in this country. And the person who is responsible for that, just to make sure you understand, is Rupert Lowe and Hughes, right? That is the power of the people if they come together under the right leadership. I've never met Rupert Lowe, but actions speak louder than words. And I think he's done a fantastic job so far. So just getting that out there. Have you got your steel suits? I have a bad temper. That's funny. DD, it's the first of many instances of a fucked up judiciary. It's Pete Long. COVID is the excuse. No. How many cases were video linked? Right, you know who? You know. Take back control. Merry old England, Graham. Do we know who removed Article 61 of the Magna Carta? No one's removed it. It's still there. I look forward to that. But there is a process. Who removed the process? Technically, it was Tony Blair, because you need to get a quorum of hereditary lords. He removed the hereditary lords, the barons, in other words. Good evening, everyone. Last person to use it was properly, that is, was John Hurst and the Magna Carta Society. And don't forget, John Hurst was a personal friend of mine. What annoys me is that other people out there now that have not read anything about it, don't understand the process, and are abusing what he did. That's a bit like that John Harris, to be honest with you. I mean, if you go and watch the video with John Harris, you can put it in. Let me see if I can find it for you. Let me see if I can find this John Harris video. See if it'll be on YouTube, won't it? YouTube. John Harris apologises. I think this is the one, John Harris. Because he's basically Apology. He was talking. I'm not sure if the geezer's dead or not. The fellow he was talking to. Let's have a look. See if I can find it. I have played it on the show before, but basically, John Harris said, "I've just conned people. All of what I've been saying is nonsense." And then he said, all that's happened is people committing crimes now are going out and trying to commit crimes and thinking that they ain't responsible for the crimes. Again, that's all I see. All I see are people trying to get away with committing crimes and say it wasn't me, it was my legal fiction. I'm like, fuck off. You get fed up with it in the end. Toxic Miranda Blair is and always has been a problem, not the solution. Lou Blanches, I don't know what that means. Ken Mist. Let's see how far we've gone so far. There's quite a bit going on. I've sent out some information earlier as well, funny enough. President Trump, and has everyone seen the video of Tucker Carlson interviewing a very deep, confident, a very good personal friend of President Putin? Has anyone seen that? And basically, he said that Russia, if this goes any further, Russia's going to nuke the UK and Germany. They're the two target countries. They won't be nuking the USA, but they're going to have to prove a point. And he basically said enough's enough. And he said President Putin has been so restrained and so cautious where he should have really struck back by now. And he said he's just about had enough now. And they will just launch. He said we could destroy the UK easily with conventional weapons. But I think just to prove a point, they're going to make a couple of strikes with nuclear weapons on the UK. Has everyone seen that video? If you haven't seen it, do you want me to bring it up and show it to you? Because it's really important. Because people think this is some sort of game. You're not being shown this. Or if you are, you're being... But the whole thing was fantastic. Let me have a look. Yeah, I saw that TC video yesterday. Yeah, and anyone who had listened to that, I got asked. I got asked by someone, "What do you think? That what can I do to stop it?" These people are not taking notice. It's not the English that are doing this; it's the British regime. Graham, I've seen Mel Kate channel YouTube thumbnail. Judge's answer to the money call Washington and Never Settle podcast. Yeah, I won't go back on our show, the Never Settle podcast. She's got too many free men and land on there, and they're very abusive. And because she just allows it, I'm not interested. I was like, fuck off, not interested in going back on there. If you can't operate a channel or you can't be bothered to look at the comments and take abusive comments out because that's your responsibility, then you should allow no comments whatsoever. London could do with a fat man. Don't know what that means. Shamrock. Standing Rock. Fallujah. Good evening. Let's see who's out there. So don't forget, keep it going up there. I think, don't know how many we've got on I don't know how many we've got watching live on X. But the totals on here are over 600 live viewers, which is pretty good for a Thursday, really. I still have to be very careful what I say. If I know I'm going to say something I shouldn't say on Rumble, sorry, not on Rumble, you can say what you like on Rumble, as long as you're not inciting violence. They need to stop poking the bear. No, I agree with you entirely. Let's have a look at this. Fuck boy, I think you meant. Thank you, Patriots. We just need 7 more thumbs up to hit the target. Hit the thumbs up. It's really important. Don't forget to share. So when you like this, especially on Rumble, it helps us, right? Chris is now looking at some of these channels and certainly looking at what we're doing, right? So Chris is the owner. And the more you hit the like button, the more he can see this is positive, this is not negative, right? And secondly, if you literally go to work on it, let me just go and have a look and see how many. And again, we'll come back to the Rupert Lowe. Let me go back to the Rupert Lowe and see. Let's go back to the Rupert Lowe. So again, restore Britain for me, restore the island is another way of saying it, right? To restore the island, you must restore England to its constitution and its original governance. That means for us, it would, but whether you like him or not, it would be the monarchy. But the monarchy would have to reassert their role in vetoes. And we have always had separation of powers. I mean, how these people like David Starkey and Liz Truss say that wasn't what happened with the Constitutional Reform Act. The Constitutional Reform Act changed the way in which judges were selected. And there were many other changes. I'm not saying it was just that. But that's the thing that we need to go back to our old way of doing it. And again, we need to get all nonsense out. If it was me, I would test people for dark personality. What does that mean? Not just psychometric changes. I'll brain scan them. It's not harmful. And if they haven't got a conscience, and you can see on the brain scan whether they're psychopaths or narcissists, sadists potentially, Machiavellians maybe. But that's the 4 types of people that you do not want anywhere near running any country, any business. You do not want them people running a country or a business. In fact, my town would be the second to go after the City of London. A referendum for a republic. Yeah, we should have a referendum for a republic. I don't think there should be anything barred from the people. Because the only people barring it, and especially when you've seen the monarchy has not done its job for fucking hundreds of years, probably 150 years at least. I think the last time the Queen stepped in, and it wasn't Queen Anne, there was another thing that happened, and I'm sure it was 1849. But they went, no, we're not putting our mark to this one. Trump set poodle partner. I have to go and find it in my law books and show people what that was. For some reason my stomach is hurting. Archonauts, cement, pink fanfare. I am sure. Let me have a quick look. I have a browse at the English Constitution Society website. Tea Party for England. Don't buy paper or silver in a vault unless you physically. Yeah, you should always hold it yourself. The silver, and that's another thing that just happened in America. They've stopped selling all silver or all silver coins. There is something going on, and there's a massive price difference between the Chinese and the American market, meaning that the Americans will start selling silver to the Chinese. Glass up precious metals. If it's not in your hand, it's not yours. Crypto is not in your wallet. It's not yours. Let me have a quick look at this. Emma Johnson, 1970, World Martial Authority. Is that worth looking at? The only thing you need to be looking at is the English Constitution. That's it. There is nothing else. And if I had the books in front of me, which I think I've got one of them there. Right, what you got to do, listen, that one there, right, and there's another one that's on, is that big? If I put that back on the shelf, I might have done. Constitutional law, right? You can see where it says it. Constitutional law, Halsby's Laws of England. And when you look at these things, it tells you what the Constitution is. It tells you exactly what the judges should be enforcing. And the worst thing is, they're not enforcing it. Here's the other one. And again, I take all these to the seminars and show people, because they say we haven't got a written constitution. There it is. Howesbury Statutes, 4th edition, volume 10, constitutional law, right? And if I was to go through all these, people are shocked. And they say, well, why do they say we haven't got a written constitution if it's in a fucking great big law book written down? Exactly. You're being lied to. And then they'll come out and say, but it isn't codified. And you say, yeah, it is codified. In many parts, it's codified. The English Bill of Rights is codified. That's what we just went to court for under Article 8. Article 9 is freedom of speech or of parliamentary speech, which is why you're not allowed to have whips. No political party is allowed to interfere with the conscience of an MP because he represents his constituents, not the party. You're there in that apartment to do two things. One, protect the civil rights and liberties of the people, your constituents. And the second thing you're in there for is to air their grievances to the Crown. That's the way the country operates. Let me mute the tab and bring that back up again. Let's see what I can just bring up there. Rupert Lowe. I would shut down every one of these vile migrant hotels overnight and deport every third world con man who's ever lived in one. Ruthlessly, swiftly, and without apology. Cool, blimey, that's a statement and a half, isn't it? When did he make that? Let's see if I can bring that up on the screen. Not sure I can bring that up on the screen, but I will try. Not that one, that one. There it is. Yeah, Rupert Lowe, 43 minutes ago. Let me have a quick look. I'll be back in 30 seconds. So I just had a massive coughing fit. I will stop coughing. Easy to say when you are not in power. What did you all think about that anyway? Let's go back to my main screen where that was. So he said, more hotels have been coming online almost every month throughout the whole year. What I have done is procure even more. Robert Jenrick, MP, former Immigration Minister, speaking November 22nd, November 2022. And you really want that person in your political party? It's mad, isn't it? Is it me, or is that, or is, what do you think's going on there? Thanks, you won't be able to. Did everyone see that on the screen? Right, that's the type of thing that we're looking at. So, to finish, there's a load more I could say tonight, but restore Britain to me is restore the island of Britain and restore England back to its constitutional basis properly, full on, right? And one way or the other, we have to separate Scotland from England in terms of no more interference with an English Parliament. We don't interfere with theirs. That's the only fairest way of sorting this out. A unitary state is not a good thing. I've brought my name and birth certificate under common law. Common law, does it make any difference? No, you've been completely conned. It's a load of bollocks. To be blunt, Royal Mail Blue Raw, Tracy Truism, Taffy Pat, Kelly Excellence, they're all wankers, Graham. Every last one of them pledges to Parliament, not us. No, that's true. Well, actually, they pledge allegiance to the monarch. And it's funny enough, in one of my books here, not quite sure which one it is. In one of my books here, it's William Wade. He actually comes up with. He said you need a new oath, and the oath is that they're not allegiance to the monarch, but the allegiance is to England and the Constitution, and the Constitution already sets out the power of separation, or the separation of power. I agree with a lot of the comments coming out there. So I grass up is certainly ratification of commons. So we might be doing a seminar up in Cumbria, I believe it is. Tell us roughly where it is, if you're out there watching and listening. And then I've got to get on some calls and do some bits and pieces and work it out. 30 days, 30 data requests, big stores. Ace Jace, they pledge elegance only to themselves. Exactly, Ken. Right, so there you go. Anyway, I'm going to do some other bits and pieces. See where we go from there. What's this one? Andrew Gold, Rupert Lowe, London is quietly dying. What's this one? Andrew Gold, Rupert Lowe, London is quietly dying. Yeah, it is. Suffocated, it's dead. Let me see if I can share that with you. There's so much out there. But Andrew Gold, I mean, he'd never have me on. And the thing is, all of these people...
I think London actually is quietly dying. I mean, when I was young and I was in London during the 80s, London was booming. And everybody wanted to be in London because it was free, it was entrepreneurial, it was the place everybody wanted to be. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think people are leaving London. And the funny enough, I had an Addison Lee driver who was actually from Sudan, so he was Muslim. We had a long chat, very nice chap. And even he said he is telling his children not to stay in the UK because he doesn't think they have a future here. Now, that's pretty serious. You know, I live down in Barons Court when I'm in London, and it's not what it used to be. The restaurants aren't full. it's a very, very different place. And if you walk around London late at night, which sometimes I do when I've been voting in Parliament or whatever, which is again another ridiculous thing, because Parliament should have set times to vote, not people having to hang around till sometimes 11 o'clock at night to vote. It really is dying, I think, Andrew. I get the feeling London is not a healthy place, and I think we can lay that charge firmly at the door of Sadiq Khan, who I think has been a terrible mayor of London, and I concur with Donald Trump in his view of Sadiq Khan. So no, I think it's not well run. I think it's become over-regulated. It's become, like every part of Britain, it's become too petty. I mean, the number of speed cameras, the 20-mile-an-hour limit, frankly, should be dispensed with immediately. Yeah. What should happen is it should now be all of these petty rules, regulations, and fetters on people's ability to be entrepreneurial should be removed, and London should be turned back into what it should be, which is a great place to live, a place of enterprise, and a place where everybody embraces each other and is open. And I think it's becoming rather a closed flower.
I absolutely agree. London is lost, in my opinion. There's not a lot you can do about it. Plus ULEZ weapons, everything. Get the silly balloon man Khan removed. Let me have a quick look on here. Andy UK 50 DD. Would the Bill of Rights 16 apply to your councillors in the local authority who have to suspend local elections? Yeah, they would. It's not the Bill of Rights. It is the Bill of Rights. But in particular, to no representation no taxation without representation, you just stop paying your council tax over that. That is a legitimate reason not to pay your council tax. Let me. It was the petition of right. Oh, right. Let me bring it up. I've got it in that book there. I could just read it out of that book, couldn't I, really? But you won't be able to see it, would you? Petition of right. Petition of right legislation 1627. So this is legislation. Let me just make sure I can find this on this screen. So if I went to print options, PDF, let's see if I can bring it up on the screen. And then if I go and have a look at print, no, edit, find, taxation. Where's it gone? Taxation. Tax 1 of 3. Recite any authority subject shall not be taxed without consent of Parliament. There's one. Let me bring this up on your screen so you'll know what the fuck I'm talking about. Petition of right. There it is there. So on your screen, so what actually brought in no taxation without representation was the petition of right, and other bits as well, like the Magna Carta touched on it, Bill of Rights confirmed it. That's why it's so important. The Bill of Rights is crucially important, right? Reciting that by, so just so you can see it on your screen, petition of right 1627. Well, by the authority part holding on Edward III. And by other laws of this realm, the king's subjects should not be taxed, but by consent in Parliament, right? And again, you had local parliaments. Let me go back to the next one. There's the next one, tax. Bishops, blah, blah, blah. And by other laws, realm is not provided that none should be charged at any charge of provision called benevolence statutes before. That's in good. Well, as your subjects have inherited this freedom, that they should not be compelled to contribute to any tax, tallage, aid, or other like charge not set off by common consent in Parliament. And again, let me put this one in here. They humbly pray the petition billing to the charge without common consent Act of Parliament, and none to be called to make answer to take the oath in attendance, because you're not coming under common consent. because if you haven't got an elections, and that means local elections as well. It's not just Parliament. You have with a county council or a shire council. It's all to do with taxation and representation, but it also goes back to I think it was 1967, but I'm not sure of the year, and they passed another law in Parliament, but it wasn't passed properly. What I mean is, it wasn't passed constitutionally, and because it wasn't passed constitutionally, because the Crown had been removed from the process, right? That means it can't be law. There is a process for enacting law in this country. It's a constitutional process, and it must be it must go through that process, and it didn't. Email me, Graham. I'll get these online agent to answer the questions. So if you searching all the time, it will learn your documents to be easier. I don't know what it means. Sultan, I left the property market in 2000 and went to Australia. My ex hated it. Now I'm back here. Australia's worse than England at the moment. I've got to be honest with you. I agree with everything you say. It's a pity most of the brainwashing into stupidity. The main stupidity out there is the free man of the land stuff, because basically what communists have done, they've created a form of chaos, and the only one who's proved that they're all wrong really is me. Not just me. John Hurst did as well. The Magna Carta Society did. There's a great website by the Magna Carta Society. I don't know why, but Free Men of the Land. I've never read it, yet they talk about Article 61. It's diabolical. The people who created what was this successful application of Article 61, there is a website called everyright.org. No one goes and reads it. I mean, he's got me and John Bigley have got some differences. He's still brainwashed into believing he's British. By the way, John Hurst weren't like that. When I sat down with him for 4 hours when we first met, and then we met numerous occasions after that, really fantastic geezer. Now deceased because he took the jab, and he basically had a stroke, a brain stroke. But making sure everyone gets this, you can go and get all of that information. You can get more information from our website, and it's all about the Constitution. There are certain other people out there that do talk about one person. I won't say his name because he's a Christian and I like him. He gets a lot wrong about the national Constitution, but locally with his own Constitution, a bit like the National Health Service have a Constitution. It's called a framework agreement or a framework document. And some people work off of that. And you're using the law against them. And that's exactly what you should be doing, right? Not going into all this free man and land bollocks. And it is every freeholder's right in this country to have a ballot. You do not have to register. But if you're not prepared to go and say, I'm not registering because I don't want to be a part of your system, but I want that ballot, right? That's my right. It's my inheritance, and I want it, and I want to use it. And then they have to give it to you. Jungle warfare. Fabians are the doers and pushers of this chaos. They need to destroy us. Yep. Anyone who doesn't vote, by the way, is complicit in what's gone on. That's the biggest thing. People who say don't vote. If anyone comes to my seminars and says that, I'll just tell them to fuck off, get out, leave, because you're not getting a voice here. You can have your voice on Twitter and they'll promote your voice. That's how bad it is. They know that what you're saying keeps them in power, so they allow you to promote that message on YouTube, and they allow you to promote that message on Twitter, and they promote you saying that, right? That's a good indication that what you're saying is completely in their favour and not the people's. Just to make sure everyone gets it. They still take your freedom. It doesn't matter what they are called. Life, peace out then. Lacey, this is accelerated globalism. Yeah, that's all it is. So we are now up to somewhere in the region of 700 viewers. Well done for everyone tuning in, getting the message out there. We need to promote what we're doing and how we're doing it and what we're saying. I would love to have a conversation with Rupert Lowe and sit there and just have a proper discussion and say, listen, you need to understand where all this law comes from, and it's no good having barristers. If you go back to the Representation of the People's Act in the 1800s, it actually said, well, they barred legal professionals being in Parliament unless they had been retired for a minimum of 18 months, right? There's a reason for that. They ain't no good to you. They're not normal people. They're not businessmen, right? They don't know how to run a bit. They've got a fucking monopoly, right? Who would want to be involved with someone who's had a monopoly and who's running the monopoly and earned their money off the National Health Service? There's many MPs in there who are barristers, who are multi-millionaires, right? And they're multi-millionaires from the fees they got from negligence of the National Health Service of their clients. Their clients get 2 bob and they get fucking fortunes. I can name them. I'll name some of them. Aiding and abetting treason and the crimes against humanity upon us all in the UK. Everyone involved must and will be held accountable. No, I agree. Treason is treason. So the injunctions of PIE was to stop people standing with barons and withhold tax payments, no taxation without representation. Yeah, PAYE was completely unlawful. It was taking away one of your protest rights. In fact, the reason why, one of the reasons why Peter Lowe happened was because it wasn't just the fact that they was demanding a vote. It was the fact that they was making a direct declaration in front of 70,000 people in Manchester, just outside Manchester, Petersfield, where the same as Birmingham and the same as Spitalfield Market, right? In the early 1800s, 1819, that happened. They was making the declaration to withhold all income tax, all form of tax, and that's what really gave them the ump. That's why they killed 19 of them, including a baby. TD, I agree with you on having a convention with Rupert, conversation with Rupert. Yeah, no, but we'll have to wait and see. But you are the people who can do that. So Rupert Lowe, send him a message and say, please speak to Graham Moore, right? Even if it's just to get, this is what we're about, right? And I think we'll get bigger and bigger. The reason why they stop us, X tonight, is fairly obvious. It's because what we say is real and true, and they know it, right? You don't go through all that court process and go through all the hurdles and get nodded through by judges because they know you're right. All I conveyed was a constitutional argument. That's it. And then they had to swap out the judges, which is what they did, and put 2 dodgy judges in, which is linked to what they did to Tommy Robinson. That's it. Good night. God bless. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. I will see you later. Let me have a quick look and see if I can get out of that one.